And we have a very good panel for the discussion on a very relevant topic, the startups for AI. And I believe that each one of them would share their experience. And startups have a very challenging time to keep going in the this world of uncertainty. So we would like to hear from them what are their experiences and what do they think are the coming or forthcoming topics and the areas where anyone would dare to come to and set up a startup. So I will start from my right hand side. So I'll first ask uh, Nirupam from NASCOM to deliberate on the point. So first we'll have a minute uh, deliberation from each member, and then we would interact among us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, moderator. So, a very good afternoon to all of you. This topic is, of course, very interesting, and I think we are, as NASCOM, as an association, we have the privilege of working with many established as well as upcoming startups. We also have an incubator in this city, which caters to eastern part of India, and so far we have almost got pitches from more than 600 startups, tech startups in these areas, and a significant portion of that, more than almost, I think I would say, almost one third of that would have the component of analytics in some form or the other. We have Shoma in this panel also. She is also a steering committee member in this particular initiative from government from West Bengal. So, yeah. Quickly coming to the point which Professor raised. So basically, we see that any startup, when they actually, they actually launch their journey, it is about solving a particular pain point in the industry, or it could be a pain point for an enterprise or a pain point for an individual or a consumer, right? Across different verticals, if we go vertical by vertical, in the area of healthcare or retail or manufacturing or say BFSI, there are so many problem statements which has a very pertinent way of addressing through which can be solved with cases by the startups, and these can be implemented, right? Now, of course, we'll go deeper in the topic, but one challenge we keep hearing from the startups which are actually incubated in this space is also that in India, because when you train any model in analytics, you need to require data, right? So, one challenge we always come across is also in the area of how to get relevant data to train the models on, and of course, if you look about predictions, it has to do with the past data and analysis, right? So this is one challenge area I would also request if other other panelists also take this up. Second is, I would say, in terms of migration from different models. Now we have several new, topics coming up. We see the last 6-7 months we have been all talking about generative AI, right? And this has actually posed a very interesting set of trends in the market. Some guys are saying that okay, even you are through different queries, your a lot of repeatable data or even coding can be minimized with some basic queries. So it also actually depends a lot on the existing data patterns and how these are analyzed. So there are new trends which are happening in the market. What we see is that in actual areas which is actually solving business problems, if this kind of ROI analysis could be done properly by these startups and given and shown the customers and clients, they are gradually coming forward and adopting. There are a lot of question marks in the initial days if we go back 7 or 8 years, but now gradually it is being established, and we see that some of the startups who are in this field are actually commercially being very successful. And I'm sure a few of our panelists are also from this particular area, and they would agree with me. So I would pause here and and pass it forward.
So thank you for your insights, and I also believe that whatever you deliver, whether a service or a product or a analytical report, they should have a surprise content and should also excite the client every time that they were not aware of this. So you may use many analytical model and do anything, but if it doesn't have any content that has not been that they are aware of, then they are. I don't think they're quite enthusiastic about this. So let's hear from our next panel.
Thank you, sir. I think everyone is, talking about the challenges and all. Of course, it's there. Challenges are there, but at the end of the day, it's fun. It's fun of building stuff, and that's what we enjoy. And that's what, like, as a startup, we are primarily a deep tech startup. We work in the intersection of AI, ML, actually deep generative models, which is known by generative AI, in the area of computer vision. So we try to generate completely synthetic human beings, modify their attributes, put any apparels onto them. But the whole part of this is primarily having fun in the process of from research to product and then product to market. And you learn, right? NASCOM has been amazing, actually. We are part of NASCOM Deep Tech Club. So it's one of the kind of deep tech ecosystem which is coming up in India. Of course, deep tech is slightly different because when you build core IPs, it took time. Like initial gestation period is significantly longer. For example, we started in 2021. So for primarily 2 years, we just build. We're still building, but from Jan, we have kind of started generating a little bit of revenue while we are filing our IPs, etc. Now, what I'm trying to say here is, I think that, in particularly in India, we are in that, like what we have seen also, right? So initially, we have kind of started with the service industry, then product, and now most probably is the time where we build kind of deep, kind of R&D focused organization, kind of building from India for the globe. I think that's kind of that confidence I think we have now, and I think that is also kind of doing a fantastic job. Yeah, and then it's a very fun time to be here, both from a tech side, both from an entire ecosystem side. Yeah.
Madam, you can give your views.
Thank you. Thanks to Analytics Society of India and the organizing committee for this opportunity to be present here amongst you. So good evening to all of you. So talking about startup and being an, co-founder of one in the area of analytics and data science, and seeing the side of corporate and then starting up with certain ideas. There are maybe a couple of things that I can talk about and share my experience in this journey. Is that any startup, if you take wherever in the world, and we have, my co-panelist here who talked about fun, it starts with an idea. It starts with a new idea that you are passionate about. And it is the joy of building and taking it to the world, to the market, to your customers, and then solving their issues or the issues or problems which are there in the market or with people at large. So that is what drives a startup or a startup founders, startup team, or the initial team. And the process, I think the journey there has its own ups and downs, and there are a whole lot of learnings. Now, because we have a group of here people who are from the academia and research as well. So, if you look back in the context of analytics, as well as the technology that we use, I guess some of you would be knowing about the R language. which is a programming language which is used often and quite popular in the analytics and statistical world. And that language was actually started in University of Auckland to be precise, by two professors. So it is modeled around another language S, but it started from university, right? If we talk about WhatsApp as the app, I think without which our communication today fails, it was started by two people who quit their job in Yahoo, and then, they thought that messaging, and that time there were a lot of applications which were there, messaging applications which were there. But then they were driven by that idea that they could create something new. And then they went about it, and in the process, we know where WhatsApp is today, that how they sold it to Facebook with a very small team. So when we are driven by that idea, you find your way along, along the way. There are and there will be always challenges. Sometimes, you find answers to those challenges. Sometimes we find ways and means to navigate around those challenges. But then you are, driven by that, seeing that idea fructify into a product or a service which is meaningful, and then drive also innovation in the process. The deep tech that Amritendu is talking about, he and I'm sure his team is driven by that idea. And then, making that idea execute, and then see it as a successful product or service in the market. Now, and talking about idea, I'm sure in this room, in the next half an hour, if we spend our mind to it, I'm sure we'll come out with 3, 5 new ideas. There are, which is good, which is very good. But the success is actually in execution. And I think we all keep hearing that. So there are always challenges, but there are, a lot of opportunities as well. And in the context of analytics, and maybe, when we come back, Professor, in the next round, I could talk about, driving innovation and how there are many ways that we can contribute towards innovation from India, from being in the role that you are in, in research, in academics. Because a lot of new ideas come with the collaboration of, between academia and the corporate. When I have traveled outside, we get regularly invited by, universities like Cambridge University, Imperial College London, or, in the US, Washington University, and so on. And we see regularly there, you have these incubation centers, which are part of the universities. The university professors are driving that. There is, so much of collaboration happening in those incubation centers where new startups are coming up. And because they are the ones who drive disruption, they are the ones who drive new ideas. It's not the large companies. And if you look at the analytics, data science, AI landscape, even in India, all the large players have bought small niche startups, either in the area of AI or in the area of analytics, and that is how they have actually, acquired or forayed into this space of analytics and AI in the last 5-6 years. So what I'm trying to say is that disruption, the new ideas happen, take shape in, not the large organization really, probably in 10% cases, but mostly it is driven by startups, it is driven, small teams, maybe in the garage, maybe in universities, maybe in the corporate, but typically these small, medium, organizations. And, so those are the ideas which once they see the execution, then are adopted by large companies, they buy, there are a whole lot of M&A activities and, which happen. So even while you are in the research, when you are looking at new ideas, you have a new, investigation that you are doing with earlier knowledge, with new concept, marrying the two. I think these kind of collaborations are, very, very helpful, and I see a lot of positivities into that. Thank you.
Yeah, so a lot of keywords now generated, ideas, and then innovation, then putting it into a product, and then the fun out of it. So I request my next speaker to give his views.
Thank you very much. And thank you, organization, for inviting me in this podium. And I am coming from Rise Foundation, Riser, Kolkata, and two parts are there. One part is my own startup journey, and I am coming from organic chemistry background and then transferred to chemical biology and now material science. My domain is nanocellulose production from a plant in West Bengal, and that plant nanocellulose I am using to replace the plastic lining of coffee cup and so many other higher applications. Now I am deeply involved in that part. Apart from that part, I am associated with Rise Foundation ISER and looking some technical aspect and scientific collaboration with the startup. What I found that startup, number of the startup is very less in eastern region. We know very well, this is very true. But we have to enhance that number in terms of every aspect, like deep tech startup, AI-based startup. But in ISER campus and Kolani campus, there's, in addition of the Rise Foundation ISER, there is another organization like Kolani Innovation Network. So higher education around the Kolani, we are making a team to build up that ecosystem in startup. Institute like Macau and Kolani University and AIMS and other Adamas University, lot of university are coming and we are making a platform to give the best service. In my opinion, what I found nowadays, that one startup is coming from AIMS. They don't have the support system like AI-based support system or the technical aspect of the system. So in that particular domain, they are looking for some help from the technical guys. So in this organization, if we go through in hand collaboration for giving some type of help to enhance their product to market it in a, that will be best part. So we have some instrument support, like we recently were going to purchase robotics platform, GPU workstation, lot of AI based thing. And AI is a very important aspect of startup nowadays, particularly for healthcare, cybersecurity, and wealth management apps or related other lot of things. You very well know about that one. So my request all of you, particularly to student, if you come close and if you visit our innovation center and if you talk to your guide like Suparna is there and Siddhartha Ghosh is there, so that will be very much helpful to go in hand. That will be better for me.
Okay, thank you. So now the next thing that comes to my mind is what is the direction of, for the startup? Will it be incremental, that whatever has been done, we try to improve upon that, giving more accurate results and recommendations? Or how do we go about in going absolutely a new invention? And that too, one could be a disruptive invention or an essential invention, as rightly pointed out, like R&D in medicines and so. So in this direction, I would like the panelists to comment on what should be the direction of the future startups, so that those who are present, anyone wishing to go about in, so what should they look for?
Okay, a quick note, what I hear from some of the other panelists also is that for any new idea, when you start something, building something, there is a set of fun challenge. We heard the enthusiasm that comes into the play.
Governance issue of government, that will be also take over by that NASCOM guideline also.
We have, I readily cannot answer you right away, but you can take it offline. You share that particular case with us, and we can go to our steering committee and take this up, Shoma, right? That is, we can find out, and if these guidelines are required or in some form there, we can help to facilitate that. That is possible.
Okay. Thank you.
So we come to the end of this session, and you have a question? Okay, last question, very quick. Directly come to the question.
Yes,
Do not
definitely.
elaborate on anything else. Right.
So I'm Rajat, ma'am. My question is to you. As you correctly mentioned that modeling is not to be looked in isolation, and there's a lot of analysis which needs to be taken care of for model interpretability. So as the end customer might not always be very aware of AI and ML, right? So when you present some modeling results and you try to convince them about the solutions, then how and what the rationale behind those solutions are, and how do you convince the customers and build trust among them? So that is. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Rajat. I think very, very important question. And you're right, customer doesn't know about, your algorithm, AI, ML, data science, data engineering, storytelling, visualization, whatever you want to, you are excited, but the customer doesn't care. Customer only cares that, what value you are adding to his or her business, right? So whatever method that you have, and he is not an expert, right? He is not an AI or ML expert. That's the reason he is coming to you, right, with his problem. That you will add the value using the right methods, and then, he will add, a value, whatever is the problem, revenue side, cost side, efficiency, whatever that is. So, but then at the same time, because these are complex models that we use, it is also on us, the data scientists, the AI scientists, to actually explain the solution that we are working on to him lucidly. And that is there is no science, that is an art really, how easy to understand way, in an effective manner, you are really being able to explain the model, why you have chosen a model, what is the model output is, and how that is helping his business. Because take it from me, he is not interested. Very, very, very few knowledgeable customers, that I have interacted with in the last 20, 25 years, who want to understand what's going, in the model, right? They don't want to understand because they don't have time, right? That's the reason you are there, to help them. But then it is on our part that we have to make it easy for them to understand, as well as, and that's why you often hear the word storytelling. Right? So however complex the thing may sound, with the, like a story you are being able to explain to him, so that he gets the confidence that the method that you have used is the right. You have done the, thorough analysis and research, and hence the recommendation that you are giving, or the output that you are giving, the value that you are giving, he has trust and confidence on that. So I think that onus is more on us than the customer really.
Okay, so for giving this opportunity to be here and the Analytics Society of India in this global conference. And on the personal note, I also stand to gain now, because just now I had a side talk with Mr. Nirupam saying that I had a patent on a AI-based system in 2018, but I have not commercialized it. So if he can help me in that regard. So thanks everyone. Thank you so much.